Bonjour.
Hello, welcome to episode 1.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Yes.
Okay, first topic, big topic.
Quarantine sucks.
Does it?
Yes.
How much has it sucked for you?
Well, I've been laid off for 2 months now. Although I do have my own company, Treats Plan Treats.
Shameless plug.
Treats and treats, always a shameless plug. So that has kept me busy as well, but still, I've already been working from home, so there's never a reason to leave home, and there's no hockey playing that happens ever. So a whole lot of sitting in here, walking around no space, and toiling in one's mind. Toiling in one's mind.
I mean, I'd have to say the same. I did outdo your laid off date by 2 weeks, but starting June 1st, I will no longer be laid off. So
enjoy.
Yeah, I would have to say quarantine sucks, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not as bad. We have a nice house to live in.
Indeed.
We live really close to grocery stores. We don't have to transit anywhere if we don't need to.
Indeed. Lots of family and friends in the area.
Yeah, like we're lucky to have that. We're lucky to have each other.
Indeed.
To not be alone during this time. So I think it sucks mainly for me from an unemployment standard. Like being unemployed while not being able to go out after. Because you've been working from home for a while now, but I've been working from home for years now. And so I'm used to that kind of work from home life. And I like it because I can go out after. Like I have the freedom to do whatever I want. When I want. And also, granted, my time frame, I didn't have to work from home at a certain time.
True.
So that allowed for a lot of flexibility. And yeah.
Quarantine only kind of doubled down on the fact that I don't leave the house, and I kind of live like a Sith, or what's his name? Count Dooku? No.
Count Chocula.
No. Well, the one who was like the parts and he had the cape. Like I just look like that, just walking around this place, and it gets kind of scary because I don't leave the house as is. So quarantine is like a doubling down on something that I should not be doing. But that being said, not being able to do a lot of the things that I want and the frustrations that produces, I found new levels of abilities to channel frustration into positive areas and positive things and constructive things and creative things, and everything gives you like a silver lining. Quarantine has given me the ability to work on art, work on mental expression, work on accentuating and expressing a lot of the things that I feel are most valuable about myself but don't get the time to necessarily quote unquote shine. So there are positives to take from the quarantine, but I'm about done. And I got a lot of art to disseminate across this planet after this. Sincerely.
I think I was on kind of the opposite. Like I started a lot and I had the intention and mindset to be productive and to be creative and to be proactive in finding work. But I think this really took my mental health for a spin, because if your mind's not right, or if you're not ready, or like you don't feel that motivation to do those things and be productive,
it's hard.
It is super hard, and not everyone is going to feel that way. Like I think there's a lot of pressure to be productive during quarantine. Like everybody's like, "Oh, so how are you keeping
Here's the
busy?"
time to do the things that you've always wanted to, you've never had the time. But that being said,
That's
I
not
think
easy.
I think our generation can speak to this feeling and still maybe not have the exact words to quantify it, but have a general term of stress, anxiety. But trying to explain to like our parents who had to go through worse to say that sometimes it's just too hard to even write an email and they can't understand or fathom, and sometimes we can't even understand with ourselves, but we know we sincerely feel it, where you're like, why can't I just do this simple task? I think it's a cursor to that points us to that we are having some ramifications from this quarantine, but we still don't know how to really quantify it in a way that people can respect it and not just trivialize it and say, just get over it. I think this is quarantine has shown me that there are a lot more of those signs that we can take serious as, yes, your brain is having a hard time whether or not you can see it or you can understand it.
Yeah, I agree. I think that quarantine has highlighted that people's mental health, if it wasn't already trending, because it kind of was, like
Yeah.
mental health, self care, all of it, this shit has been trending for a while. Um, and quarantine just further highlighted, I guess, maybe to the naysayers or to the people who don't believe that mental health is a real thing, that it is, because I think everybody kind of got standardized. Okay, nobody's allowed to go out. Everybody is
Yeah.
subject to the fear of this virus or subject to the fear of whatever, whether you're one of those anti-vaxxers or anti-quarantine people or not, doesn't matter. There was some sort of standardization of anxiety.
Yep.
And fear and oppression based on this thing that nobody really knew about.
Yeah, very true. I'd say this is a good time to really point out one of my uh, main tenets of existence: my body, my choice. And sometimes people don't see what you're going through or understand what you're going through. But if you deem it to be true and relevant within yourself, it's your body, it's your choice how you deal with it. For me, that runs true for every decision in life. And you'll probably get to see that. You'll probably get to cheer me for it at sometimes and also vilify me for it. But my body, my choice.
You stole that from feminists
No,
during
no, 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 no,
abortion.
no, no. That is just human right.
It is a human right, but we were
The Americans didn't find America. Look, it was there before they got there.
I get it, but all
Right
I'm
is right.
saying is that a lot of the time, like we were talking about this the other day, I think that it starts, some of those things, some of those sayings start in a very small area of where it's applicable. And people are afraid to transfer it out to other areas because they want to keep it in this small bubble of, oh, my body, my choice is just for abortion law, when you can apply it to everything, and people are too afraid to expand the existence of how transferable that is, even though, isn't that what you want? Don't you want people to be able to understand?
That is true liberty.
If you understand how my body, my choice works in the context of abortion law, would you then not be able to transfer that to other areas and empathize with it further? So if you can do that, I think it makes sense. And so I don't see, if people are going to vilify you for my body, my choice, I think it's for lack of understanding.
Indeed.
And maybe they can understand through these conversations how transferable a lot of feelings are to other areas, rather than just staying in this kind of like niche area.
I will say this though, the messenger is equally as important as the message, and this also rings true for everything. And my stance of my body, my choice can sometimes be abrasive because it's so non-give-a-fuckable, and I can understand that as well, but I still stand by it. My body, my choice.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So quarantine, it has
I think it sparked a lot of thoughts.
Yes.
It's a gift and a curse with all this time to think, because
a lot of self-reflection.
For me, thinking is probably the biggest double-edged sword that I have in my pocket of weaponry, just because thinking allows me to be reflective and self-aware and to be empathetic and all these things, but thinking and overthinking is something I'm very accustomed to, and quarantine just pushed that shit over the edge even further. Like I just delved even deeper into my own thoughts, which is not always the best.
I think that's what quarantine has done for everybody. It's it amplified everything that they were to the point where they had to come to a reckoning with some things that they did not like and some things that they loved.
Yeah, definitely.
It
Like
accentuated everything.
for me, I always thought, oh, I'm a productive person. I'm super, on top of my game with my job. I'm a creative person, whatever. And then it came time to like do it when nothing was really on the line except for me, and I couldn't do it. And then I would just be like, well, no point. I can't even get out of bed. Oh, I could go to bed really late or really early and still wake up really, really late. Like,
just feel dead inside.
Everything was every day bled into the next day. There really wasn't a reason to keep going.
Yeah.
That's what I felt. Not super dangerous, like self-harm dangerous, but a lack of motivation in my mind to deteriorate.
Start to feel like when Master Splinter got sent to that other universe or whatever, where he just had to meditate until they came and saved him. It was good for a while, and he enjoyed the peace, but it was not a forever place. And this is getting into a forever place level with quarantine.
For the kids who don't know, Master Splinter is?
The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fearless leader.
Great. Okay. Just letting our Gen Z...
fair enough. I have faith in some of y'all.
You can Google.
I fucked with some of y'all.
You can Google. But yeah, that is true. I really do think that lots of people faced things that they didn't want to face because they had all the time to do it.
Yeah.
And there's no excuses at the same time. Like, if someone says, oh, do you want a video call? Well, you can't really run away from that. Whereas historically, I would have a legitimate reason not to be able to do things.
Indeed.
And there's no legitimate reasons anymore.
I still stand by it. If I want to put my face on a camera, I'll just say no. But
no, like,
I'm more open to it now.
You can still do that.
Interaction of humans more so, or at least myself, I'm more willing to entertain being contacted by friends and family, since that sounds terrible.
For context,
I don't want nobody
generally doesn't like...
Don't call me. I don't want you calling me. Nobody call me.
He's pretty antisocial.
You don't know what it does to me. All right. But still, that sounds ridiculous, but it's true. My body, my choice. Yeah, but you appreciate the phone calls from your friends a bit more. You can actually enjoy them because you have the time to let your brain just focus on that conversation versus
I do think so.
A litany of tasks.
And I also do think that quarantine really showed you who shows up.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Like people who I didn't think that I would be as connected to. If not for them, I wouldn't have had the motivation to get out of bed. Indeed. Because I know they're going to call me at 12 or something. And it's like, okay, I can get up for that. Yeah. Like, I'm going to show up for that person. And to see the people who have done that for me and not have expected it from them has been really nice. Yeah, it's super nice. It's like, wow, those people actually tried for me. Yep. Who am I, really?
I'd say another thing that I've gotten from this quarantine, which I did not expect, but has been great. I hadn't seen my brother in almost over a decade, and now he lives down the street. And during quarantine, we've seen each other more than we've seen each other in a decade. So, like, helping each other out with, like, art, business, anything like that, and that's been because of quarantine.
Yeah.
There are silver linings to everything that happens. It's just trying to find it, but can't live off of silver. Sometimes that cloud's got to disappear too, but still try to work with that silver lining if possible.
And sometimes you won't see the silver lining until later. Like, I don't expect anybody to be able to really process quarantine for a while, because everybody processes at their own pace. Mm-hmm. And some people have been just fine and just kind of like, I can get back to normal, and they don't have the same mental impact that other people have. But I think for me, I've been able to really understand, like, the parameters of my mental health.
Yep. I'm wondering how I want to reintegrate into the workforce, if in the same way, or if at all ever again. I feel like this has made me, some would say, some characterize me as a little too overconfident in some ways. Some might say I'm not confident enough, but it's made me realize what propensities I have and what I can exploit for monetary purposes, and how I can make that work for my life and how I need to make things work for my life moving forward to prioritize the things that are the most important to me. So it's given me a lot of time to really think in a solitary confinement way whilst having somebody present, because they don't disturb your space in a way that is non-productive, but is only productive. I thank you, dear. I thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. Mm-hmm.
It's true though. It has been a time to really think about a game plan almost. Even if it's just a game plan to feel better. Like, I think people are always trying to think of ways to do better and be better and reintegrate to the workforce and all that stuff, but some people are just trying to think about, how can I have a better day tomorrow?
Indeed.
So
how do I make tomorrow not as terrible as yesterday?
Yeah. What's one thing I can do?
Fail better.
As Dr. Cornel West has said, try again, fail again, fail better.
Indeed.
And I'm all about that.
Always will, at least when you go to bed, you can know you moved the ball forward some way. So you know when you look back, you did something.
Yeah. And that might just be the silver lining.
Indeed.
Wherever you can find it.
Fail better, man. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, things are a little bit, I don't know, there have definitely been times in quarantine where I'm like, I don't think it's ever gonna end.
Yeah.
The news has been crazy too. Like, I know I tried to stay away from it. What?
How important is sports? How important is sports?
Okay, I didn't think that sports was important because I'm not as big of a sports fan as you are, but I have grown to really, really, really miss highlights. I hate you for that.
Listen.
He will watch sports highlights on loop, and I somehow will find something new in every highlight.
That's the beauty of TSN Sportsnet. You could watch the same show for about 3 hours, but you could do many tasks within that 3 hours and just miss certain parts. And over time, you'll fill it all in like a torrent download, and you'll get your entire product when it's all said and done. And that's 3 hours of your day done. Then what's up next? Oh, a ball game. You got another 3 hours to just sit there. You could go on the balcony, have a smoke. Ball game's going. You're going. It's a good fucking time. Not no more.
I mean, I won't indulge that deep. I will not indulge that deep, but I definitely will binge YouTube videos of Bretman Rock and his sister Princess May.
We need programming, but it makes.
I miss late night. We miss late night.
Late night.
We miss late night.
Even though Jimmy's a fraud, he still holds it down.
Even though Jimmy is he's way more authentic in his quarantine Tonight Show with his kids.
I don't care about your blackface, Jimmy. Fuck that shit. Paint your face whatever color you want. But start being real. Start being real. You don't love everybody. And fix your pinky.
He can't fix it.
No. We'll take it off.
He can't fix it. He did take it off, and then he put it back on.
Try again, motherfucker. Try again.
Anyways, yeah. Quarantine has sucked for that fact as well. Like, not having to constantly find entertainment when TV pre-quarantine was so easy to engage in. Yeah. And don't get it twisted. We don't have TV programming.
No.
We steal.
I'm a stream god.
He is.
I'm a stream god.
He's a bootleg king. I've never met a better bootlegger. Trust.
Fucking thief of the century. Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh, God. Anywho, yeah, I mean, we haven't been able to stream nothing.
Nothing worth fucking streaming.
Nothing worth streaming. And there's only so much Netflix you can watch.
Yeah. I'm done with that.
Because there's not much on
First
there.
week of quarantine, Tiger King was straight. I ain't watching nothing else now.
Oh, and The Last Stand. But that's for another conversation. Yeah. That is another
conversation. Comedy sketches were proper also. Thank you to Joe Rogan.
Joe Rogan's great.
Thank you to
Brilliant Idiots.
Andrew Schultz and Charlemagne the God. Not on the Breakfast Club.
No, on the Brilliant Idiots. I was a hater because, no offense to those brilliant idiots, but sometimes the laugh is hard for me. I mean, then I warmed up to it, and I love Andrew Schultz's laugh.
But
Charlemagne the God
should add God to his name also.
True. Andrew Schultz the God.
He's up there with Larry David for me.
Yeah.
He's up there with Larry David and the White white section. Just
Yeah.
saying.
That's a white pass.
Yes.
He's funny.
Indeed.
So they've been very, very, very useful, I should
Indeed.
say. Very valuable in these times of quarantine.
Who would have thought Charlemagne saying screet and scress and talking nonsense would still be useful? Who would have thought?
Well, if anything, it makes me laugh.
Indeed.
And his laugh does make me laugh. I've warmed up to his laugh.
He can't enunciate, and him roasting Donnell is quite funny.
And them roasting Taylor.
It resonates with me. It resonates when you pick on people. So if you love people, you pick on them. And if they can't handle it, well then, it just makes you want to pick on them more. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Move on?
Indeed.
Next topic on the chopping block.
How much has your weed, for me, plants for you, intake increased? Care to start?
Well, I got into plants a couple of years ago. Plants are trending, but I noticed that buying them became an addiction because the local plant shop was open. Like, nice. They were open for curbside delivery or pickup or whatever, and I don't know why, but I just wanted to keep buying plants. It just made me feel better.
Yes, it is visible. It is visible.
You can't see the plants now, but there are many plants behind you that visible. Tried to use it to like liven up our house.
Looks like an industrial block inside here.
Yeah, so we needed to have some greenery in the foliage and greenery.
Good segue. So, a lot of weed has been going inside of my body. A lot of weed. I started late, so I don't feel as bad. I didn't start smoking till my 20s, early to mid 20s. But I think I would usually smoke an ounce every 2 weeks if I behave myself. Probably down to an ounce every week. About.
Okay.
Yeah, the intake has definitely increased, but I don't feel too bad because I'm still productive. I would feel bad and I feel like I need to stop if I was kind of like the stereotype where I just sit there and vegetate, but I smoke, I do more. When I do more, I congratulate myself by smoking. By smoking, I do more. Then I congratulate myself some more by smoking. It's a vicious cycle that yields podcasts. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Great derivatives. My drug habit has great consequences.
I would have to agree. There is not a striking difference in. I would say that when you don't smoke weed, you're a different person.
In what way? I'm curious because I've been told this before.
Not in a bad way, but I just feel like you're more mellow.
When I don't, or when I do?
When you do.
Okay.
When you do smoke, I feel like you are a little more outgoing.
Fair.
I feel like you do get stuff done more so. I feel like, and not to say that without it you don't get stuff done, but I think that because it allows you to focus, it changes the way you approach tasks.
Fuck everything else, I'm doing something.
Yeah. So normally, like pre-quarantine, I would probably say things like maybe like one less today. Maybe do something else today.
Instead of 4 two paper rolls, maybe 3.
Yeah. Or maybe smoke twice a day instead of 4. But given that it's quarantine, it makes sense. There's nothing else to do.
I could be an alcoholic who beats you. Just saying, that's a real thing.
You could also be a pothead who beats me, but I don't think
potheads beat.
But I don't think you need pot to beat somebody.
No, but if anything, pot has a greater chance of stopping you from beating somebody than alcohol.
True.
Indeed. Not that I beat people. Well, not that I beat you. Not that I beat you. Just to clarify, accuracy is important. Truth is the truth, kidding. No matter who it. This girl, no matter who it benefits, I'm for truth. And I do not beat her.
No, he does not.
or women for that matter, unless merited. Unless merited. And I stand by that. My mother always said, you're somebody's child. If somebody puts their hands on you, you gotta put your hands upon them. It's fair. My body, my choice.
Yeah. He does not beat me, just to confirm.
Yes, very, very clear.
But it is definitely funny to joke about.
When I sleep.
I wasn't even gonna bring that up.
I'm not accountable.
I wasn't even gonna bring that up. But since you did, there was one time, because he has there are many times he has vivid dreams that one.
I always feel like I'm being attacked.
No, but the one time where you strangled me was because it didn't go all the way, but the act was there. And I woke up, which then woke him up because you were having a vivid dream. Yeah, because I was like, okay, tap out. But various times, I wake up with bruises, allegedly due to the vivid dreams, because you're also a violent sleeper.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay.
Which
the world's after me. Okay, the world is after me.
But in any case,
it's internalized.
Yeah. I try to not partake. I will turn down the invitation to partake in the weed smoke in the volume that you smoke.
50% of the time when I make the offer out of courtesy. But sometimes when I ain't got no time to fuck with courtesy, I say, you want your own? Because I need that tooth paper.
Yes.
Corona!
He does. I try to keep it at like once a day, twice. 3 times a lady. But I definitely try to keep the consumption down. Mainly because it doesn't have the same effect on me that it does on you. Like, it's not
for me, it's a stabilizer.
Yeah, for me it definitely doesn't, like, I definitely get high, but I can't do much.
I think that's something I should probably point out. I don't get high where I become incapacitated. I think I live in a state where my senses are too heightened at all times, and it kind of cuts the edge off. It's like a compressor, just cuts the edge right off, so I can really just get the volume amplified out there properly for whatever I'm trying to accomplish or partake, or create or whatever. I just need to take some of those sensors off, and then just go to town on whatever I'm doing.
For me, it's definitely a relaxer. Less of an equalizer, more of a relaxer. I like to do it before bed, as you know.
Indeed.
I like to do it in the evening when I'm winding down, because I notoriously have sleep problems. Pre-quarantine, you more so during quarantine, definitely have had sleep problems, but I've always had sleep problems for a long time, and I just find that weed puts me in a state of being able to just turn my mind off so that I can sleep. My problem is, as soon as I start to sleep, my mind goes into overdrive, and I start thinking about everything, so then I can't sleep. But yeah, I have, however, been partaking in edibles. Shameless plug.
Treats, fun treats.
Because I've managed to figure out what dosage works for me. Because the first time we tried edibles was...
Fun fact, we don't like edibles, or at least we thought we did.
Yeah. Until quarantine. Until quarantine, which is crazy, because how long have you been making edibles now?
So, since selling them in the Vancouver area, we started selling it through the weeds dispensaries, and to get their business, their contract was they sourced me their butter pre-made. The thing is, they made their butter and they cut it with alcohol, which was one of the older ways of extracting THC. So I think a lot of people didn't realize they weren't getting high, they were getting drunk. And
both.
Two people who don't drink doing that probably wasn't the best mix. So we ate an entire muffin each.
And not like a little baby muffin, like one of those artisanal muffins that you would get from Whole Foods, Big Papa. Style. We ate it at 9 p.m. after dinner.
Said, this ain't doing nothing. Then got to bed, wake up in the middle of the night. This one's crawling across the floor, across the walls, like, I'm dying. So like, okay, I ain't feeling right either, but you definitely ain't feeling right. So, okay, let's pay attention here. Get back to bed. Then I have to wake up for work the next day. This is like my 3rd week at this job at this point. I'm like, I'm going to work, all right. Not feeling anything. Then I get to work. I can't lift my head off my desk. I'm like,
Meanwhile, I'm passed out cold. I don't even know he's left the house.
Since I don't drink, I don't know how to notice the feeling of drunkenness. I just think, what's wrong? What is this feeling? And then it hit me. Probably feeling really drunk off of that edible, and it was just the worst feeling. Left work early, came home. She's still in bed.
I'm passed out. I thought he came home. I thought he came home at like, I can't remember when, but for some reason I thought you came home at an earlier time. Because all my time was so messed up. I didn't even call work. I had work. I didn't even call work. They called me, left messages, text messages like, "Are you okay? Where are you?" Didn't even have any idea. We both were sleeping again. Woke up around like 5 or whatever. I thought it was noon.
Yeah,
and I'm like, home. Sweet, we have so much of a date.
When I got back from work, after only being there for a couple hours, I just went straight back to bed with her. Then we woke up and we thought, oh, there's still a lot of day left. The day was fucking done. It was like 8 p.m. And we still feel fucked up.
Yeah.
So we ain't doing that ever again.
No.
And that was 6 years ago?
Yeah. And then the first time that I guess I actually indulged and tried it again is during the quarantine.
Yeah. And it was, so one of the quarantine treats is some Haagen-Dazs ice cream with a fresh brownie out of the oven, broken into the ice cream.
Yeah.
Treats and treats.
So we share one because I know that I can't go further than that. But there have definitely been other people who have told me that one for them is like perfect for them. So
then hit up the Call of Duty Warzone after that. Shoot some people up. It's a good time.
I think the first time we did it for quarantine was before we did our quarantine haul. Like when everything closed. When everything closed for the first time in Toronto, we were like, okay, you had an order.
Yeah.
So he made an extra one for us. And I'm like, all right, let's go to them. We hit like 4 grocery stores in walking distance. I had a backpack. You had your backpack. We had reusable bags. We went to the Metro. There was like a sale on meat. We
stocked up.
We hauled for that.
We got the meats.
We got all the meats, and it really made it fun, I guess. Because I admit, like, it's kind of, I can have anxiety going out in the same time because everybody else has anxiety being out, and everyone's like, ooh, do you have corona? Ooh, don't touch that. Don't look at me. Ooh, you're Asian. Like, okay, thanks. Like, I didn't know. So being able to just like relax, and I felt good. Like, I did not feel super high.
It wasn't a bad experience. It was a pleasant. I understand why people buy this stuff now.
Yeah, me too. I was like, how do you make money? No offense, but I get it. Once you find your threshold, and you stick to it, and you know how to enjoy it, indeed. It's better. Honestly, it's better for my lungs. So I tend to defer to the weed. I can control it. It tastes delicious. It lasts. For me, it lasts longer than smoking.
It's a different effect, and I wrote about it on the blog for treatsandtreats.com about during this process pandemic where we're trying to avoid damage to our respiratory system. Doing the switchover made sense, and inherently I didn't realize that probably made sense for me to do the switchover instead of being stubborn, because I like my 2 paper joints, but it's a good way to, it's kind of like trying to alter your diet for the better. You could still get what you want. You just need to sometimes make a few adjustments, and it's for the better. Yeah.
I feel like for me, it's great because sometimes you have your meal, then you kind of want, like a little sweet, you want a little dessert after. And then sometimes you have a joint and you get the munchies. So cut it all out, have your dinner, eat your edible, and you're killing like 3 birds with 1 stone.
There you go.
So I gotta say, I've turned a new leaf. I definitely like edibles, but I only eat his. Wow.
Bars, nigga.
I only eat the edible baked goods that you create.
Bars, nigga. It's all good. Some chocolate bars, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, but they're so good. The brownies, I gotta say, the brownies are delicious.
Gracias.
Especially with ice cream, especially like heat it up just a little bit.
I'm glad you like my batch.
I really love eating your batch every day.
There you go, bud. There you go. Salid, man. Salid.
But I can't, like, I just can't explain the feeling. Like, it's not, you know how people describe it as like a body high, or I can't even say what that is. I don't even
know how to describe it.
I don't know how to describe it.
You're good at that.
I just know that I feel good.
Yes. Try it out. Right now, there's a promotion on Treats and Treats. COVID, 10% off.
Shameless plug.
Why not?
Pay the bills.
Why not?
Pay our bills.
You know what I'm saying? Pay our bills with Treats and Treats. Both ways. Same ways.
Yeah.
Increased intake on weed. What are some of the side effects of that? My pockets hurt. The pockets hurt because it costs money. But same time, I don't have many vices. Haven't been able to get on the ice recently, so that's money being saved.
There's no extracurriculars to spend money on.
There's no
you can't
movies.
Go out to spend money.
It's nothing.
It's not like we're spending money going out to eat and going on date nights. Like
when I think
our
about
date night is a 2-paper roll on the balcony.
You know what I'm saying? Nice breeze, couple papers.
Date is a 2-paper roll on the joint on the balcony or a brownie and Warzone.
You know what I'm saying? But you learn to appreciate the simple things.
Yeah.
You can.
I think it makes
you're missing a lot, but you can appreciate what you have. And it's another thing that quarantine has done. It makes you realize you don't need as many things as you really think.
Oh, that's for sure. You don't need to do the most, which is a good segue.
Indeed. Rolling.
Little like biscuit reference. Next topic.
La prochaine topic.
What have you realized you actually missed and will recommence doing when things reopen after quarantine?
Spending time with those that matter that you don't get to, and appreciating spending time with those that matter that you got to but didn't take as much advantage of it as you did. And hockey.
Right I didn't quite follow the first part, but I'll rewatch it to understand.
All right.
Let me see. I think I'm definitely going to look forward to exploring Toronto because we just moved here in January, and the number one thing that one does when you move to a new place is explore.
Mm-hmm.
It was brick cold when we got here, so there's not as
cold as Montreal, but
it was definitely cold for a Vancouver gal like me.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not the ideal terrain to explore, and
Indeed.
and I mean like that, going to try foods that we don't have in Vancouver, going to see parts of Toronto that people really enjoy that I want to experience for myself. I'm going to really look forward to doing that.
Random side note, off topic. Now that I guess we've lived in Montreal, Toronto, Vancouver,
mm-hmm.
I think it's very easy to decide which one of the three is the one for me personally, and which one is the more beautiful one out of the MTV options. It's definitely Vancouver. Just walking down to the waters here, the little things that you took for granted in Vancouver as a good time, which was just looking at the natural beauty, you didn't realize was not everywhere else for free.
I'm going to stop you there. Well, I appreciate that that's your experience,
mm-hmm.
but for me, having grown up there, I can definitely say I don't take it for granted because that's all I ever did.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really go out. I didn't go clubbing. Me and my friends, we just hang out. We walk to the water and we sit and we laugh and we eat. That's all we ever did. We're not partiers. We just like make up stupid jokes and laugh. So I will say that having lived in all three and here, like giving Toronto a fair shot, staying and trying to live out the COVID era, I can't wait to go home.
Indeed.
It's not that I don't appreciate these places. Like Montreal is a beautiful place. It has so many different. It is.
It can be.
It can be. Like, okay, architecture.
Yeah.
I will say that your home city, your hometown, isn't the most majestic.
This girl's fucking with LaSalle. Like what? The
no,
fuck?
I didn't say. Look, you said that.
Well, it is a hellhole, but still, I can say it.
Yeah, I didn't say it was a hellhole. I just said it's not as majestic.
Anybody can say it. Truth is truth.
It's not as majestic as what I'm trying to say.
Anybody who left knows why they left.
I'm just trying to say
why they had to fucking leave.
That out of all three, for me, I just need to be able to enjoy the scenery because I don't do anything else. Like Montreal has a great nightlife,
which I don't do.
Toronto has a great nightlife.
I don't do that.
And neither do I. So that's not appealing to me. There's plenty of stuff to do in the city. I don't really go out and do much. You got a movie theater, you got some food, we're good. Indeed. You know? And so for people who want like the hustle and bustle of a city, great. These two places are super great. Not that Vancouver doesn't have the hustle and bustle, but it's like
it fits
25% of the hustle and bustle. And
the hustle is earning your money so you can survive, and then enjoying the little moments that you get with the natural beauty and the people that you can share it with, that you appreciate sharing it with.
Like we walked to Lakeshore Boulevard, wherever I just Googled where the water is, where the lake is. It's like an 18-minute walk now. There's nothing. Okay.
It's gross. I wouldn't want to fall in that.
No.
It looks like death. It looks like Swamp Man.
To be fair, when you're walking along the water, like in Vancouver,
you can still see the bottom. Even if it's nasty full of bums, you can still see the bottom.
It's a crack beach. There are bums take baths in there, as we know. Shout out to the bums. But I will say that to enjoy, like to sit and enjoy the view, I can't sit at Lakeshore Boulevard.
No.
Not when I know what I can see at home. Like, not when I know that I can stare at the Pacific Ocean dead in the face every day from almost every angle of the city.
When the Pacific Ocean is your front yard, it's hard to complain.
And then you have the mountains. Like, you have the ocean and the mountains at the same damn time.
Oh, Shane?
Like,
future bars.
I am pretty sure that I would die happily with that view today.
Yep. Vancouver's shit.
And being able to walk to those places, like everywhere you go, there's a nice view. Everywhere that we've lived in Vancouver together, everywhere that I've lived, there's a nice view. Yeah. And the water is within 20 to 50 minutes drive, no matter where you are.
The beach is awesome. There's all of them.
Yeah, every single beach.
All of them.
Even English Bay, where it's the dirtiest beach.
But those hot dogs are fucking big, though.
Shout out to All Beef. I miss you.
What was it, $3.50?
I miss you. $3.50.
$4.50 with
all
a Coke.
beef, Alberta beef hot dogs. Thank you, Alberta, English for bringing that beef to me.
Shame.
That and just sitting there, and just people watching, enjoying. I miss that so much.
Just relaxing.
And people try to tell me, oh, there's like, okay, granted, we haven't been to Woodbine Beach. Well, maybe you have, but I haven't yet. We haven't been to that whatever man-made beach called Sugar Beach, but it looks ghetto from the.
I don't even want to know what
it does not look. Yeah, it does.
That's not for me, man.
It's a sandbox with.
No thanks.
It's a sandbox. It's like the beach, the man-made beach in New West, but even like, the people in New West can still go to Vancouver in a matter of minutes on the train and go to the beach.
I'm not doing it.
Anyways, yeah. What have I realized I actually miss is Vancouver.
Yeah. I've missed Vancouver and spending time with my friends. Definitely.
Well, the good part is that you're close to your friends here.
Yeah. But Corona's fucking that up right now.
Yeah. But since we are staying here for another year, that'll give you the chance to
indeed
go there really quickly. It doesn't take very long. Just a weekend, you're bored, go there and come back like 3 days later, do it again.
Indeed. Go stay in my house.
Yeah. I also miss watching movies in a theater.
Yeah. Getting high before going in there and just. You know what else? You know what I fucking miss? Marvel.
Oh yeah.
It's been over a year.
It's been hard thinking Endgame was really the end.
The last release was Spider-Man Far From Home. It's been a year almost.
Oh, I like that one.
Indeed.
That was awesome.
Who would have thought we would have had to gone an entire year without a Marvel movie after they've been licking us across our face for decades solid, with at least 2 every year.
And it's DC who's coming out with Batman. I think that's the newest.
Yeah, with that
the vampire. The clear guy.
The vampire thingy. The vampire kid person.
The guy who looks constipated and pale.
One of them.
Oh, Robert Patterson.
One of them.
Pattinson.
One of them. I don't know. I'll watch it because it's Batman, but he does have a broody face, but I feel like I'm getting too old to be caring about this man's face and how it fits in Batman. Give me
No,
Christian Bale.
but the thing is, you have to because Batman's like this.
Yes.
This is all you see,
George
so you
Clooney
have to
was
judge
just
it.
all wrong.
Oh,
Ben
no.
Affleck, all around.
Michael Keaton was a G.
He's the Batman with the Jordan.
Michael Keaton was a G, and Christian Bale.
Yes. That was the best. I think that's the best trilogy in a while.
The Batman, Christopher Nolan?
Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
That's the best. I think Christopher Nolan doesn't get enough respect for being one of the best directors over the past decade.
I think he does.
Yeah?
For the people who I guess...
And he keeps his click tight.
I feel like for the people who definitely know Christopher Nolan's work, like Memento and countless other things that he's done where he has a very specific way of shooting. He has a specific story to tell.
Every time. It's beautiful.
It's kind of like the brooding version of Issa's work.
Yeah.
Because Issa Rae's Insecure.
For her topic.
Well, if you think about it, every frame is a photo. Like when she wakes up in the morning,
included in everything.
Yeah, when she wakes up in the morning and you see the alarm clock and you see every frame is a photogenic frame. Something
that I probably should have known from before, but I always used to think I love the scoring of Christopher Nolan's movies, and I'd always say I love Alan Silvestri's scoring abilities whenever he does movies.
Yeah.
And it's usually those two at the same time.
Yeah, well, Christopher Nolan chooses his go-to is
my introduction to, well, not introduction, but my crowning moment for Alan Silvestri was, first it was my guilty pleasure favorite, one of my favorite movies, Serendipity. It's perfect. His scoring on that, it's you and me, pep and stick, whatever he's singing on that song, whatever that song is, but he just gets the right tone for the right moment. New York, Christmas time, downtown, perfect score. And then he did Van Helsing.
Okay.
Van Helsing! Oh
my God, that's going to come off so loud in the audio.
Okay. Igor says do unto others before they do unto you.
For me, I think, well, for musical scoring, there's a few people that I like, but I think my favorite score is from Pan's Labyrinth.
Spike Lee does a good job too.
Spike Lee does everything though. He's an end-to-end, full-end, like he does everything in his films.
Vertically integrated. I just had a Charlemagne moment.
Minneapolis.
No, he said Minneapolis or whatever. Minneapolis, yeah.
Okay, to be fair though, it does sound real.
Sounds right.
Close.
Spark.
What else will we miss? What will we start doing when things open again?
Traveling.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, but I mean like in the city. Like our everyday stuff. That's a given. Once the airlines start letting people leave, that's the whole point.
What else in the city? I was really excited about building my hockey team. Had a logo, team name, everything.
True.
It's gonna be awesome.
Okay, I guess that's not that many things for us to look forward to.
Makes you realize you miss Vancouver.
Yeah, because there were more things to do.
Yeah.
More things that I like to do. I think
fit
here
into the scheduling seamlessly.
Yeah, I wanted to move here to try restaurants and to watch shows and concerts and sports, and all that's canceled.
I just wanted to sell my business.
Yeah, well,
Corona's fucking that up.
No, you also wanted to watch sports too.
Yes, of course.
Haven't been to my first Raptors game yet. Haven't been to my first Maple Leafs game. Went to a Jays game, but you really got to see the Leafs and the Raptors if you're here.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it is to watch the other team.
Indeed.
But because that's what I would be doing at the Leafs game. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
But haven't been to either one of those, and don't know when that's going to be. Like we live pretty close to
BMO Field. It's right behind.
Yeah, so we could potentially watch MLS. A soccer game,
Trash.
But now we can. I can eat the hot dog in the stadium and then go. I don't feel bad about that.
Yeah.
But we can't do that. All the concert tickets we bought, won't be able to watch those.
Nope. There's not much to really do.
There won't be much to do.
It's made me realize how little I do.
I kind of think I already knew that. But now I just know that I want to do the little that I do in Vancouver.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just playing hockey a lot. Sounds so simple and basic.
I just miss my friends.
Do some hood rat shit with my hood rat friends.
I'm a big hood rat.
There you go.
I'm always ratting in the hood.
There you go, bud.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Is there anything else?
That's about it for the things that will be recommenced when normal life recommences.
I don't even know when normal life will recommence.
This is the new normal. I can't wait to do my stand-up comedy.
Oh, that's what you want to do. But then, when will that happen?
Fuck it, I'm going in. Going in raw. Fuck them.
Well, I won't be there.
First episode, you're not allowed. Gotta feel liberated to speak from the nuts.
As if I would be able to censor you in any way.
No, you wouldn't be able to censor me, but I would.
It as goes if back to I would do any censoring.
It's going back to being able to sense the presence of somebody whose opinion you are conscious of. This has to be
You're always conscious of my opinion.
Yes, but if you ain't there, balls to the wall. It's okay.
But it should be balls to the wall every time.
It should, and it would, and it could. But I need that practice with the balls going against the walls. You know what I'm saying?
So if you do episode 1, and you do the same,
fire.
But even if it's not, if you do it again, am I coming to episode 2?
Sure.
We'll see.
Sure. Why not? Content's gonna be hilarious. It's gonna be hilarious.
Allegedly.
Absolute, bud.
Speculation at this point.
Great.
At this point.
It's gonna be fucking lovely. Right. So the last topic for winner chicken dinner: racism. Why not? It's an easy one. It's an easy one to get on.
Big topic.
I'm sure everybody's aware. Well, not everybody. Those who care are at least intimately aware of the latest situation that has highlighted the racial inequalities and disparities and all other issues that take place in primarily America, then North America, and then globally in regards to the Black diaspora as a majority of the topic of racism. Although I think we can all state that other non-white ethnicities get these same issues, whether to the same magnitude, but issues none the less.
I think it would be wise to start with acknowledging the racism, the heightened racism that Asians have experienced as a result of Corona. And for me personally, to have experiences as a kid, but also in this time during Corona to experience it so heightened, I think it puts into perspective what I wouldn't normally be able to empathize with the Black community, because as I was saying the other day, we were talking about this, it's just like an insight into what many Black people go through every day and have it as like it's just an underlying part of their day. These are things that will occur, that they can expect to occur, that if it happens, they kind of just have to go, well, it is what it is. And I know it doesn't make what is happening to Asian Americans right, but it allows, hopefully, Asian Americans who are maybe blind to the fact that racism occurs for us and occurs in a very, very, very heavy way for the Black community, to then be able to empathize and to be able to support in a genuine way. Not just be like, I stand with you because we're all colored, but to sincerely say, I get it, dude. Like,
yeah. And this kind of goes back to my whole my body, my choice. Another thing that I think, so these situations bring out a strong response from all people, but I think we also have to be aware, this is not to be condescending, it's that not everybody has the ability to express themselves accurately when they're enthralled in their emotions. And we have to be careful to not take everybody's feelings as a gospel of how to practice our own way of making that change or being a part of showing up, or your silence is your compliance. Because, for example, you could have somebody who will go and say, you know what, I want to help you guys film this or whatever, and I'll do all of your video recording and editing for free as my way to help you through this process. But nobody would ever know that, and then they might be viewed as silent. But on the flip side, there are people who their first option to reach out could be very obvious, and they don't take that option.
Yeah.
To see how to be part of the process.
I think that is definitely, I definitely agree with that. I think something I've been seeing a lot in the memes and people posting is saying that your silence is just as bad as the racism, or your silence equals neutrality and neutrality equals just as bad as the racist and all that. I think what I would say is that it's not accurate to say those things. I think if you're gonna, one, I don't think it's anybody's business to tell people what they should be doing in this case, because there are so many different ways that people want to process, want to support, that they can support, whatever their capacity is to support, and not everything has to be publicized. So just because you change your profile picture to say unite with Black people or Black Lives Matter doesn't mean you're actually doing anything to support the cause. Just because you post on social media that, oh, here, donate to these places, doesn't actually mean that you did, or that you signed the petitions, just because you say you did. So for me, for people to say, to judge my silence or say, oh, you haven't posted anything or you haven't spoken up about this, I didn't know that I needed to. I thought what I need to do was to do what I thought was action for me and only me. And if people know about it, great. If they don't, great. Like,
two things on that.
Nobody's business other than mine,
indeed,
to support in the way that I need to and want to.
Two things on that, which highlights once again, my body, my choice. You can do whatever you want. You don't have to do anything, and what you choose to do is your choice. Point. Final. Period. And also, not every note is meant to be played loud. Some of the sweetest notes are the most subtle notes.
Yeah.
And not everybody's meant to be on the front line. Not every, like I was saying yesterday, I don't want Killer Mike standing inside of a riot. I want him standing in front of a microphone as much as he can possibly be. I want to see Dr. Cornel West in front of a microphone. I want to see Mark Lamont, a former CNN contributor who's a professor at a esteemed university in the States. He's eloquent about the things that he says. He has insight. He understands both sides. He plays the devil's advocate. Those are the people who I want pushing the narrative of our intellectual thought process on all of this. The mob has a role, and the mob's feelings are valid, but the mob is not necessarily the best spokesperson for a movement to be gripping to the masses.
And I think too, hearing people say, like, I stand with you, I'm an ally, to what extent? Like, and I mean this in the best of intentions, because it's the same when Asians experience certain things and people say to me, like, oh, you know, I understand and I support you and stuff like that. What does that actually look like in action?
Indeed.
Because for me, I have always tried to educate myself, whether I have a diaspora of Black people around me or not, or people of other colors, to understand their cultural context. I think that's important. That education, that everyday education of understanding somebody's cultural context, understanding how the color of their skin affects their everyday movements is important. And I don't think that changing my profile picture or posting this and that, for me, if other people want to do that, you go for it.
Changing shit.
That's fine for you. But what I do every day, and we were talking about this the other day, is just like,
live the change that you seek.
If I can, if there's a person of color that I know needs an opportunity, I will do what I have to do to help them get there. I will support businesses that are Black owned, Asian owned, brown owned, whatever. Sorry, South Asian owned. My brown, yellow, and Black people, all the colors, I will contribute to those businesses versus a white business. And I'm pretty vocal about that. I'm pretty vocal about bringing up people's whiteness, and I'm not afraid to do it.
There's nothing wrong with expressing nepotism. It is something that is done very casually and welcomed in other communities.
I try.
And there's nothing wrong with saying, you know what, I want to help people that are close to me. There's nothing wrong with that.
And I don't have to tell people that I do that. I don't have to tell people about the contributions I make, or when I do decide to sign a petition, or when I do donate, or when I do just help somebody I know who needed some information about furthering their goals. I don't have to tell anybody that I do that. But for me, that's my form of protest. That's my form of dismantling the system, because I believe in different ways to do it. I'm all for Dr. Cornel West when he said, try again, fail again, fail better, because white supremacy is going to be around for a long, 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 long time. He's not wrong. The world was built on white goals and white people
until it's
killing
down,
others.
It's not going to change.
And so that's why I'm like, I get, violence in other contexts I wouldn't be supporting. And I don't necessarily say I support violence, but I understand it at this point. I understand that you've been peaceful protesting, like Colin Kaepernick kneeling, everybody doing what they have to do. Everybody.
At what point does the reaction of frustration not become expected?
When is it going to work? So you didn't like the other ways.
Yeah. At what point every attempt to bring light to the situation is either dismissed or it's trivialized intentionally to dilute its purpose, or to pass on misinformation to the point where it deconstructs the actual goal of the movement, kind of like what happened with the Me Too movement. Yeah. Whenever things get co-opted, it loses its central tenet. Like, back to me saying my body, my choice. I agree with everything that the Me Too movement is saying in terms of, this is my body, this is my choice. You don't have the right to do this and do that. But this is controversial for many. But once you, in any cause that you have that is just, in bringing justice for your person, anytime that it steps out of that boundary into infringing upon another's, you've created an opposition. You've created an enemy inherently. It might not be your intention. You might not think that that person should become your enemy. But if you try to take away anybody's freedom, you are inherently attacking them. And I think we should try to stay focused on what a purpose is, what we're trying to achieve, and not just make it broad and PC so it can be palatable and it can be passed on, because then you actually lose the value of the message. Like, another example, if I walk down the street and I look at a woman's hair, it's okay. If I look at her shoulder, it's okay. If I look at her kneecap, it's okay. If I look at any of her sexual regions, then it becomes a problem. If there's nothing to be seen, which it should not be seen if it's private or you want it to be private, then there's nothing to be seen. There should be no issue. If it is no longer private, well, then I did not make that choice to make it visible. But my eyes are my body and my choice. Now, if you were to interact with that woman and start verbally harassing, that's harassment. You've engaged. But to lay claim over a person's eyeballs for your social condition, that is an injustice to the other party, because you don't own their eyeballs. And to say how you think about, if you say you're sexualizing me, once again, their thought process is their body. As long as they don't project their thought process, it's not your business.
I understand that. I think it's a difficult.
It's a touchy.
I think subject. It's a challenging perspective to take, because too often there has been evidence from people who abuse that.
Yeah,
I think that's what makes it difficult. I don't think it makes it wrong. Mm-hmm. I think it makes it valid. I think it is valid that my thoughts are also my jurisdiction. So if I want to sexualize somebody in my brain and I don't bother, if I don't bother anybody with it, like, how do you know I'm not sexualizing people all the time? Yeah. Nobody knows. How do you know I'm not thinking like
you got to know where your jurisdiction ends?
Wanting to burn down buildings every 4 seconds. Yeah. You
got to know where your jurisdiction ends.
People's thoughts are their own. People's freedoms are their own. It's what you choose to do with them.
Indeed. How you interact with the world with those thoughts. Now that is up for discussion.
That's a completely different conversation, other than my personal thoughts that nobody knows but me. And They stay with me. Exactly. And I think that's why with stuff like what's happening right now, with everybody calling to arms and saying, if you're silent, you're not doing anything.
It's an elephant gun to a problem.
It's an inaccurate way, or I think it's not a productive way of encouraging action, real action, genuine action. If you're going to chastise, if you're going to chastise someone before they even get the chance to try,
you've lost them.
Then there's no support there. Or to say, or to combat people trying to make a difference and trying to speak, even though they still have their ignorances, and saying, well, that's wrong. The way that you're supporting us is wrong. Because I've seen that too. There's plenty of Asians who are posting like Asians for Black Lives, and they support, and then they say something with a full intention to support. And then Black people are in the comments saying, you worded it wrong. Like,
Yeah.
Okay, then tell me, like, I'm sorry. And those people will say, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. I still have my ignorances, but I want to support. How can I do better? Blah, blah, blah. But it's like,
Something
damned if you
I
do,
used to
damned if you
tell.
don't.
I used to tell like a common argument or discussion point that I would always get from white people who would see that I'm open to discussing things that they're curious about, but they're not sure if they found the right audience that won't judge them for the question. Like one person would say, why is it okay for black people to say the N word, but I can't? I'm like, I understand what you're saying, and on the basis of just straight devil's advocate in facts, you can say it. Just like I can say, just that there are consequences that you are smart enough to know you can incur because there are some people who can't handle their emotions to that word. Yeah. Realistically, it's a word, you have the right, but you also have to have the common sense to know the consequences of executing all of your rights. Not all rights are executable without consequence. You just still have that right.
But I think in the sentence you just said, the biggest challenge there is the notion of common sense.
Yeah.
Where it's not, I think white privilege actually masks what common sense really is for the average human.
True. And touching on white privilege, I think another way to engage more white people who in their heart wish well, but in practice unconsciously might not realize they are part of the problem, is if we look at things in a mathematical equation, if white privilege also equates to a black disprivilege, why don't we just say, instead of saying, okay, you have a white privilege, saying we have a disadvantage in this. So for you, it's not that you have a privilege, that we don't have something that we should.
That's a good way to put it. Because I think as soon as you say white privilege, people are
defensive.
Scared.
Yes.
Yeah, people get scared of what you have to say. And it makes sense. And I think, and this comes back to me thinking that language is really important and wording is really important. But so is education around the language. So if someone's going to say white privilege, if you don't want a white person to be afraid of that conversation, and you want to have a productive conversation about privilege and race,
make them feel comfortable in some way.
And even though to some people,
it's not your job to make them feel comfortable, but if you want to have a discussion, it's your job to get what you want accomplished.
And that's where I think that's my version of changing, of posting, like changing my profile picture to say Black Lives Matter, because I'm not going to do that. Not that I don't support.
I'd rather ask you a question than hear you speak.
I would rather have that conversation. I would rather bring it up in conversation, and people know this. I bring up people's whiteness all the time. I bring up white, and for us, it's a very common thing. We're like, oh yeah, white people. It's common in Asian families. It's common in people's families who are not white to say that's a white thing, or that's how white people think. So we've grown up with the term white and whiteness. We've
had to find a way to describe our other that we encounter every time we leave our house. Where it's if you're not aware of your environment, if anything, you just become lost. To be non-white is to know what whiteness is.
Yeah. And I think that's the way that I support the Black community, the Asian community, all colored communities, is by having those conversations, by facilitating conversations where I will try to make them feel comfortable so they can learn.
Yeah.
Because you have to kind of do that.
The worst thing is to not be open to the discussion.
Yeah.
Because that in itself is an indictment saying that you don't want to have a change.
Like to automatically assume that white person is going to be XYZ going into the conversation automatically closes you.
And vice versa.
Yeah, and it automatically closes you to any progress in that particular conversation.
If you care and you feel like the people you're speaking to also care, you shouldn't be inherently afraid of the end result of that conversation. You should be optimistic about the end result of that conversation.
Yeah. I'm a firm believer that inserting the conversations anywhere you can, bringing it up any way that you can, that's my form of protest, quote unquote. That's my form of
engage in thought-provoking discussions, because that's where people will usually find more information. It might not change their mind, but sometimes people need to hear things that they can take back with them when they're alone, and then they can come to terms with in a way where it's kind of disarming. Because people don't want to give in sometimes, but they are open to learning.
We can't change people's minds, but we can plant seeds maybe.
Yes.
We can't change people's minds, but we can openly speak and show that not every person of color is going to meet every white person with defensiveness and vilifying white people for white privilege. As angry as they may be, not every person is going to lead with that emotion.
Don't be
they can
afraid
have
of
conversations.
thought-provoking statements. Lean into them. Don't lean away from them. It'll just leave you further back in time, because discussions move social discourse forward, not backwards. So when you stand out of that process, you're kind of saying, I don't want to be a part of that society that they're hoping to make.
I think to kind of close out that topic for now, because we talk about it a lot, so it'll be reoccurring. Mm-hmm. Maybe it'd be a good idea to kind of leave off with saying, I think that at this time, there's a lot to process. So if you can't comprehend or process, if you're feeling really emotional about what you're seeing and you can't talk about it and you're not able to voice how you feel about it, that's okay. Because it's a lot. I think it's a lot as a Black person.
As I don't know if I shared this with you, but post that I wrote on Facebook, I went out there and I was going out there just to listen to music, and the right message and the right thing on my Facebook timeline of the process, and I just started crying. Just started crying nonstop, and I was like, why am I crying? It was like, that was it for me. It was just, this sucks. This really, really sucks. And not everybody has the words to express how one gets to that point. And like as you know, sometimes if we hear a siren that goes off, I'm like, are they coming for me? Even though after about a millisecond of thinking, logically, I realize most likely not, but I still have a doubt. That is a conditioning of, if you've ever been arrested or confined or had your person taken away by somebody else and dehumanized, told to strip search, solitary confinement, those things, they kind of stick with you in a way where you feel as if you're always theirs. You're always theirs. They have a hand on you. Yeah. It's like a new plantation system. They have their hand on you, and you're never yours until you get free, and you might never get free.
And sometimes when I ask you where you go or why you didn't tell me, it's not because I'm trying to be a crazy, controlling girlfriend or anything like that. It's because I'm sincerely scared.
Fair.
Especially in Toronto. There's a lot of shootings here.
Indeed.
And there have been a lot of shootings in this past quarantine time.
Indeed.
At least a few. So it is an inherent thing for Black people and people who have Black people in their lives to think about safety.
Indeed.
And privilege, whether it's white or Asian or any other color, we don't really have to think about that all the time, whereas the Black community does. It's overwhelming evidence to not agree with it.
A police siren is a trigger.
Yeah.
Oddly enough.
So is a look, just someone looking at you on the street.
Indeed.
Like,
are they coming for?
I'm aware, and you like to wear all Black outfits and wear your Black hoodie and put your Black hoodie on a sunny day, and so
I'm scary.
No, but then you look at the face and you're like, never mind,
I'm scary. I'll fuck a bitch up. I'm not a female.
But in any case, it is an underlying thing. Safety is an underlying thing. Having to defend yourself, I feel, is an underlying thing that I see in you, having been around you this long. That it's always
I'm always ready to attack in defense.
Yes.
And I'm always premeditating who might be coming after me.
And you're always thinking of how can I get out of that situation if it occurs.
Like in my dreams, ending up strangling him.
Right.
The dream.
That's one way out. Strangle me.
Side effects of racism.
It is.
Side effects.
Yeah.
And some people might trivialize that, but it's sincere.
It's real. And I think for any Asian Americans who are experiencing whatever, whether it's your mom, like my mom, getting sworn at when she's just going on a walk with her mask and shit, she can empathize with being maybe an older Black woman on a regular day, not during a pandemic.
Yeah.
And I can identify with other Black females, and just getting that little piece for other Asian Americans, that's not something we have to deal with all the time. In closing,
there's one positive thing that I think we can all do that is simple, non-invasive, and helpful. Whenever you're interacting with a Black individual throughout your day, just say, how are you doing? Just say, how are you doing today? Just to humanize their experience. I always I always feel, as I tell you, black women have it the hardest on this planet. Whenever I interact with one, I always just try to bring a smile to their face during my interaction. Like, how are you doing? Have a nice day. Your hair looks nice. Just something that's sincere and is simple can go a long way. A very, very long way.
And I think that is true for not just black women, but for my case too, like black men.
Yeah.
Anybody in the
all
black
those ladies
community.
On Instagram saying, "Black brothers, we see you. Thank you." It's very minute, but it still at least shows something. So thank you.
I think even though things are minute, they do show things.
Indeed.
And just even being able to like smile at somebody on the street and not give them like a, you know,
Indeed.
or like maybe don't cross the street because
a
there's
little bit of tenderness.
Like just some outward kindness.
A little bit of tenderness.
And the courage to do it, because I think there's also a lot of white people who are scared to be nice or scared to support for whatever reason. And it's okay to be scared, but I would encourage you to have the courage to support.
Indeed.
In whatever way you can. Even if it's just like going to the one black person you know and being like,
how are you?
How are you? Like, there's a lot of shit going on and I'm not, you know, I'm white, but how are you? Like, it's a simple thing.
Indeed.
And it doesn't have to include a deep, thorough discussion on race.
Doesn't gotta be public. It's meant for you and them.
Even if it's a text, even if it's someone who you like don't really interact with that often, but you can tell that there's something going on with them, a simple "how are you" is a nice thing to do.
Indeed.
And it's non-invasive.
I think that's it for episode 1, Winner Winner Chicken Dinner. FYI, the name means nothing.
It's just the first thing that came to his head.
That's how it usually works. Treats and treats.
Shameless
plug. And I turned into $1 million brand.
Anyways, stay tuned for the next episode.
Indeed. Got 256-bit.
Like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell.
All of them things.
Buy treats and treats.
Treats, pun treats.
Say
please.
How are you to your black community members.
There you go. There you go.
And
that's it. That's all, man. Peace.